Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. The Premier League returns tomorrow. Newcastle United are back in action as we take on Crystal Palace at St James's Park. I will be there tomorrow. I'll have all the usual pre-match, post-match vlog. Hopefully, I don't get blown away. It's absolutely chucking it down outside. It looks like nighttime. Looks like I'm sat in the dark, and it is because the sun didn't bother coming out today, and I reckon it could be worse tomorrow. So it's going to be a good day regardless, I'm sure. The lads will be up for it. The fans will be up for it. I'm hoping to get out early, actually, and watch the early kick-off too. So, yeah, don't miss out on any of the videos tomorrow. Subscribe. Do not miss out. Check out Patreon in the description as well. But welcome to the match preview. We'll talk a little bit about Crystal Palace, what we can maybe expect from them coming up to St James's Park tomorrow. What we hope to see from Newcastle United. Eddie Howe has done his press conference. We've got updates on injuries. A few players look to be returning, I think, just in time, at a good time for lots of games coming up. Obviously, it's Palace we're talking about today, but then it's Dortmund, then it's Wolves, then it's Manchester United, then it's Arsenal, then it's Dortmund away. So, yeah, you could possibly say that Palace tomorrow is the game we really want to be. Well, we want to win all of them, don't we? But a win against Palace would kick us off to a good start, get back on track again, would get the confidence flying, and we're hoping for a big performance. Eddie Howe spoke about the injuries, but he also spoke a lot about Sandro Tonali. And I'm going to tell you in this video why I think Tonali, for me, he's got to start. I think there's a few different reasons, but I really think a Tonali start tomorrow in a big game from him would be big for us. So yeah, let's get into the preview. I'll actually start off by talking about Crystal Palace. They have had a decent season. They're actually just behind us in the league right now. And in fact have, I think, the most clean sheets in the league so far. So defensively, they are pretty sound, and you'd imagine they'll probably come to Newcastle tomorrow to take a draw. I don't want to disrespect Palace, and you know what, if they come up tomorrow and absolutely trounce us 3-0 and run the show and have all of the ball, you know what, fair play. Fair play, but it's not the way I envisage it going. I imagine that Palace will probably let us have the ball, and we'll come on to Newcastle in a minute, because we have to find ways to get through these teams that will come to defend against us, but they can be a little bit unpredictable. Interestingly enough, they played a game against Villa not too long ago. I think they lost 3-0 or they lost by a few goals. They actually went into that game quite defensively. They then played Manchester United not long after, where they actually played a more 4-3-3, more attacking formation, and won. So maybe it does pay to go out there and try and play the game and not just set up the block. Having said that, talking about Newcastle bringing players back, Palace do have a few injuries. The likes of Eze, Elise, you know, the pair of them are both injured at the moment. And if there's anything, you know, a fixture has to go by, I think in the last 4-5 Newcastle Palace games, I think there's like 3 goals, so it's like less than a goal a game average. It's not often one that you put on and think, ooh, this is going to be a big one, and it's probably why Newcastle are on at 3 o'clock. We don't get too many 3 o'clock games, so they've probably looked at the past Newcastle Palace fixtures and gone, yeah, we'll leave that one where it is, which, to be honest, suits me. Regardless of what the weather is like tomorrow, we don't get too many 3 o'clock kickoffs. We've got plenty of TV time coming up, and one of the lucky few who's at the game, who has a season ticket, so for me 3 o'clock kickoffs are great, right in the middle of your Saturday. Start early, end late. If you don't have a ticket or you don't have access to the match, I can see why you don't like 3 o'clock kickoffs. But anyway, Palace, I reckon, will probably look to take whatever they can from this game, whereas Newcastle stepping in off the back of what has been a fantastic, tough start of the season, going into an international break. We've then gone international break without losing a game. We've had the rest, and according to Eddie Howe, have some key players returning. Joe Linton is in contention to return. Joe Willock was even posting on his Instagram saying that he's on his way back soon. Will tomorrow be too soon for Joe Willock? Quite possibly. But I think the And look, Joe Linton is a big one. I think a lot of people have spoken about Willock a lot, actually, this season so far, is to have that pace again at times can really help. But look, it's Sven Botman, isn't it? And in fairness, not to say that we haven't coped without him. You know, even Joao Lascelles has put in some really good performances. As I say, undefeated in quite a few games. Beat PSG 4-1. But look, Sven Botman with some tough games coming up is a player that you are looking at and thinking the sooner we get him back, the better. Will it be too soon for him against Palace? Will it be too soon for Joe Linton or Joe Willock? Or are we already looking at the likes of a Dortmund on Wednesday night? We'll get onto lineups in a moment, but potentially, you know, half an hour or some game time to kind of get, get your lungs going again, blow it out. 30 minutes of hard graft, recover, and then we're back in on the Wednesday night. But before we get into the full lineups, I think for me, and look, Eddie Howe did his press conference today. I had a feeling it would be quite heavily taken over by talk on Sandro Tonali, and I think watching it earlier, the 35 minutes, I think about 80% of it was about Tonali, 10% of it was about the actual game tomorrow. Eddie Howe says that he is available to play. He spoke about the fact that it was a massive shock to him, the fact that he spoke to Dan Ashworth and he was totally surprised by it as well. The fact that his arms are around Tonali, that he is backing him going forward, that the club do want to help him going forward. They don't know when they're going to hear more on what potential ban or what's going to happen. He is available for selection tomorrow. We don't know whether he'll be available on Wednesday for Dortmund. We don't know when we're going to hear more on that. But sticking with tomorrow's game, Eddie Howe said he is available. Now, Eddie Howe, whether he would have always planned to play Tonali in this game, I don't know. Because I'm even thinking, is it a Livramento shout? Is it a Hall shout? We've got a lot of games coming up. We need to get some of these guys involved sooner rather than later. I don't imagine if he doesn't play Livramento tomorrow, I don't imagine he'll suddenly play him against Dortmund. Or not to say that he can't do it, by the way, because in the Man City game he got man of the match. So we have options, but if we are going to start rotating a few things, I would have actually predicted that maybe he would have stuck with Anderson in the midfield tomorrow and played Tonali against Dortmund on Wednesday night. Because we don't know when we're going to hear more on Tonali, does he play him tomorrow to get some time out of Tonali, to get Tonali on the pitch in front of the fans, because look, despite the fact that allegedly Tonali has been a bit of a naughty boy, really, from what's being reported with betting and everything else, and I do understand what Eddie Howe was saying, that it is a problem, and the club are backing him. The fans will back him as well. Tonali will get a humongous roar from the Newcastle fans. I think for me, this is why Eddie Howe should play him. I think there's a number of factors here. I think one of the factors is get him out on the pitch. Be brave. Eddie Howe says he believes he's coping well. Obviously, the mindset is a big thing, whether Eddie Howe thinks he can handle it and he can go out there. But you just know for a fact, 5 minutes in, Tonali makes a huge challenge, slides through a player. The fans are on their feet. And it's put a huge kind of confidence boost into Tonali himself personally, but for the game as a whole. There's nothing more than Newcastle fans love is to get behind a player, cheer them on, and really have something to roar about. And in a Palace game that normally ends 0-0, having Tonali on there and going, wow, I think it will be great for the fixture. I think it'll be great to give the fans something to be pumped about and want to cheer. And I think for Tonali, who no doubt is having a really tough time of it at the moment, to feel the love, to feel the support, to know that there's people behind him would not be great, as I say, for the fixture, but it would be great for him. And if he's to find out on Sunday, Monday, that there could be a ban of 7 to 12 months, to not play and look, it's tough. I get it. It's also going to be all eyes on him. The world's going to be watching. It's not just Newcastle fans in St James's Park. Everyone's going to be watching. Everyone's going to be talking about it. But if he doesn't play and he quietly steps back and then all of a sudden he's away for 12 months and then it's this kind of just gone away, I think, to have that moment, to feel that love, to feel that support would be big for him personally as well, to know that he's still here, to go away, work hard, come. Like, what more motivation do you need than to have 50,000 people cheering your name to go, right, I've done it bad, but I'm going to go away and I'm going to come back and I'm going to make it good. I think it would be big, and look, I think Eddie Howe would want that. I think Eddie Howe wants that. But if he's having trouble and Eddie Howe doesn't believe he can handle it, then maybe it will happen. In fairness, he could come on for the last 30 minutes and probably still get the same attention. But I think to step out in that starting lineup would really set up the game. It would set up Tonali. And if you look, I'm not even asking him to score a goal or just run himself into the ground, 110% would set everybody off. So yeah, that's my reasoning for why I think we should have Tonali in that lineup tomorrow and getting stuck in. You let me know your thoughts on Tonali down below. In terms of the full lineup, it doesn't have too many surprises. I have gone for Nick Pope in goal, and I have actually put Botman in there. I think it's a bit different with centre-backs to just give them a half an hour blowout. I know I've spoken about that with Joe Linton and a few other players. Really, if Botman's fit, if anything, I'd rather give him 60 minutes, 2-0 up, bring Lascelles on to finish the game if he can't play the full game. But to have Botman up and running as quickly as possible is important, because he's the player we want against Dortmund. He's the player that we're going to want against Wolves, Manchester United. And there's a lot of games coming up and we need them to be in action. I have stuck with Trippier, I have stuck with Burn, and I have stuck with Shaw. If we're gonna play Livramento and Hall, would this be a good chance for them? I just don't see him dropping Trippier. I think Trippier plays every game if possible, and then maybe we'll look at the League Cup against Manchester United to make some changes. Not that I want to, because that's a game I also really want to win. But there's a lot of important games, and it's just how Eddie Howe manages it. In the midfield, I have gone for Bruno. I have put Tonali in, and I have actually stuck with Longstaff for now. I would say that Eddie Howe hinted possibly at Joe Linton returning, but Longstaff deserves it. I think Longstaff's been really good, unless he says to Longstaff, look, it's going to be Joe Linton, but you're in on Wednesday night. I'm sure Longstaff would take that trade. The hope is we'll get into this game pretty quickly and we're going to start seeing the likes of Joe Linton coming in, Willett coming in, almost using this Crystal Palace game as I say, without... I'll stick with the Eddie Howe mantra that the next game's the most important one, but really just want to get out there, business as usual, playing a good game, and score a few goals. And am I talking too positively? I hope not. And take them with the cleaners, to be honest, and get a few in the back of the net, get everybody a run out, get everybody's engines going as we shoot off into 6 games in a week and a half. Up front, I've got with Gordon on the left. I mean, Gordon missed out on the West Ham game because of his yellow card. I think he is nailed on for that left-hand side in every game going forward. Up front, I have gone for Isak, and then on the right-hand side, I have gone for Miggy. Again, could Eddie Howe pull out a Murphy out of his back pocket for tomorrow and then bring Miggy back in on the Wednesday? Could he play Wilson and then bring Isak on later on? Obviously, Isak pulled out of the Swedish squad because of injury. Obviously, some terrible stuff going on with Sweden as well. So, yes, we'll wait and see on that one. One thing I'll be interested to see, actually, as I mentioned, that Newcastle really have to come out and make it work. I think if Palace do come out and defend, we went down to the London Stadium and surprisingly, West Ham were 2-0 up and Isak pulled us back in it, but they at home pretty much set up to defend against us, and I think that's something that we're going to see more and more this season. Teams putting in the block, trying to get on the counter, and for us to have all that possession, you've got to make it work. You look at it was the opposite to the PSG. We didn't really have any possession in the PSG game, but when we did get it, we used it and we countered and or not even necessarily countered, but we scored goals. I think set pieces are going to be even bigger than ever. Trippier's creating more chances than any other player in the Premier League, and we're not bloody scoring enough of them. So that's big too. If we aren't winning into half-time, I think Eddie Howe has to be brave and look to maybe do Wilson and Isak. Bring on two strikers. I think sometimes we aren't carrying the ball out of the midfield quick enough into the strikers. Isak's having to drop back into the midfield. It screws where everybody's meant to be. Just let Isak play in behind. Or even bring Gordon more inwards so that we can have a little bit of those 1-2s to like nick the passes. You look at the likes of Bellingham flicking balls around corner from England. You know, I think Bellingham is a very talented player, but I think, you know, the likes of Bruno can create, can give those little dinks in. Isak is more than capable of running around 2 or 3 players, but sometimes with the bank of 3, the single striker and the wingers are great for that quick release out with the ball on the wings, get it in. If Palace are just sitting there like this for the whole of the game, to have Isak just stand there in the middle is tough. So I don't want us to be scared to maybe look at 2 strikers if we need to. But we won't need to, because we'll already be winning and it won't matter. Alright, that was my lineup. Let me know your thoughts down below. In terms of predictions, I have backed it. I've gone 3-0. Yeah. If we win 3-0, we'll have scored as many goals as both teams have in the last 4 fixtures, you know. But I'm hoping we'll come back strong. We'll get the big Tonali boost. The crowd's going to go wild for him. We're going to get back into winning ways very, very quickly and set us off to, you know, that Champions League game on Wednesday night. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, drop a like, subscribe, predictions for the game down below, thoughts on Tonali starting. Enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Check out Patreon, link in the description. Loads of extra videos coming out this weekend and over the next few weeks for all of the football. So don't miss out. Help support the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you later.